Okay, boys, let's talk about some not good NBA teams today. We're going to start with the Pistons, where JB Bickerstaff is now the head coach, and the 1 year with Monty Williams that Pistons fans would like to forget as quickly as possible is over. They overpaid for Tobias because they just needed more talent in the door. They got Hardaway, they got Fontecchio coming back, as well as Beasley here now for more shooting. We all love Asar as an athlete and as a defender, even if we would love for his jump shot to get there. Similar thing with Ron Holland, who I think physically is going to play like a madman this year. We'll see what the results end up being, if for the minutes he does get like that. But I mostly want to talk about Cade, Duren, and Ivy. Cade now on a max contract. I am a Cade believer. I think he's shown enough as a decision maker, playmaker coming around screens, putting his defender in jail, around screens, the whole thing. He shot nearly 50% from mid-range this year, and a lot of that's going to be the pull-up too. He made progress on his three ball this year. I do still wish he was getting more free throw attempts, but those also went up a little bit this past year. Yeah, the turnovers were high to begin the year, but I mean, sure, Cade has to take some responsibility for that, but I really think that it has been as not ideal around Cade as it has been for 3 years now, that I'm willing to take some of the slack off of him. And we can't forget he missed basically his entire second season. Now, as far as his partnership with Jaden Ivey, we all know what happened with Monty Williams and Ivey last year. Jaden got put in the doghouse by Monty Williams for the sake of playing Killian Hayes more. Look, Jaden Ivey, he shoots 35% on catch and shoot threes this previous season. He can get downhill, man. And I think the optimistic take on their pairing is that if Cade is the more methodical ball handler, then Ivy is more of just the straight line drive attacker. And sure, due to injuries, coaching stuff, lack of spacing, it hasn't been the perfect situation for them to figure it out. And while I don't want to act like Cade has been perfect, I do think Ivy's going to have to make a pretty noticeable jump this year. I mean, sometimes he's looking really clean coming around screens, and then whether it's getting into a floater or finishing around the rim or whatever, and sometimes it's just a little out of control, but he's improved on that stuff to some degree since his rookie year. And of course, just making a jump as a shooter and a defender would do a lot. But as far as spaced out lineups, I mean, like, Tobias is definitely starting. They paid him way too much money not to start him, and like, Tobias is cool. He's not a high three-point shooting guy, but he can make them. And then personally, I would like Fontecchio to start next to Tobias at the other forward spot for more shooting. Like, I get it. Asar defensively can be special, but I think step one for this team is, like, we got to put as much spacing out there as we can. Just to recap with Fontecchio, last year, after the trade deadline for them, 15 points a game, 43% from three on 6 threes a game. I mean, of course, you're going to see Cade and Ivy playing together, but I also think you're going to see Bickerstaff try out lineups where it's Cade surrounded by as much just catch and shoot spacing around it, so lineups where it's like Hardaway, Fontecchio. Anyway, let's talk Jalen Duren. The finishing is good. The rebounding has been good. Had a slight uptick in assists per game. His free throw percentage went up. The defense needs to get better. Now, one thing from the Pistons, and look, I will admit, I did not watch every single Detroit Pistons game last year, but the ones that I did see when I dove into the stats and everything, it did seem like it was more drop coverage and asking Duren to just kind of man the middle a little bit more. And the byproduct of this is, like, they didn't give up a lot of corner threes and stuff like that. It's like, okay, but if you're asking Duren to do that much, then he's got to be really good at it. I mean, you can ask Wemby to do that. You can ask Gobert to do that. So we'll see. Maybe JB wants to do something different, have him higher up on screens, whatever. I don't know. I do got to talk about Asar for just a little bit more. Special potential defensively, we all know that. Also just, like, stuff in the stat sheet. I mean, the guy got to 2 offensive rebounds a game this previous season, and so I think putting him in lineups where he's surrounded by multiple shooters is going to be important as well, because it could open up, some of his, like, driving off the catch or opening up cutting lanes for him as well. Of course, him making a jump as a shooter would be great. We'd love to see it. We'll just see if it happens. Anyway, that's the Pistons. Good luck to him. Shout out Marcus Sasser. Let's go to the Brooklyn Nets, who are now holding up a big sign that just says, we are tanking, we are whatever the rhyme is for Cooper Flag. That's the dream for them. It was a hell of a move for them to get their picks back and to get all the Knicks picks in the Bridges trade. And so now this team is kind of a blank slate. I mean, teams are going to be calling about Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith. They extended Claxton this year, 4 years for $100 million. Seems fine. I'm assuming they're also going to get calls about Claxton throughout the length of that contract. I mean, anybody looking for a versatile defensive center, he could be your guy, but I imagine it would take a pretty penny to get him. And if Day'Ron Sharpe can keep his fouls down, then he and Claxton's actually like a pretty solid center rotation. Besides that, Cam Thomas is going to get these shots up, man. 22 a game last season. Would not surprise me if that number went up. I don't know what the future of Cam Thomas is, whether he's actually like going to be this consistent mid-20s per game scorer, or if he gets traded 3 years from now and he's going to be like a sixth man for a team. I don't know. But he's certainly talented and he can certainly get buckets. But to reiterate, the Nets now have a crazy amount of draft picks, and they now have their own picks, so they can just do whatever the hell they want. I debated on whether I wanted to do a whole thing on the Hornets. I'm choosing not to. If LaMelo and Mark Williams are healthy, then they'll be better. I'm also choosing not to put the Spurs in this group because Wemby is Wemby. I'm also going to be nice to Atlanta and just not put them in the video. I don't know why. Now let's talk Blazers, who do have a lot of storylines going into this new season. I think Scoot Henderson improving his finishing and downhill consistency. If it's not number one, it's pretty close to number one. Because while the flashes were there, the sort of instant impact downhill guy we were hoping Scoot could be, it didn't hit like that. Now, sometimes it just takes longer for rookie point guards. Also, just general decision-making stuff as well. Besides that, I mean, look, teams are going to be calling about Jeremy Grant. We all know the Lakers have been. We know the Blazers have been asking for a lot out of the Lakers. Multiple draft picks unless something changed there. In my one question for every West team video, I talked a lot about Shaedon Sharpe, where the signs of him being like a real shot creator and working off of screens and making difficult shots and everything, it's all there. It's just he needs a little bit more of a runway, and he also needs to stay healthy. And also he's got to prove that he can do it over a longer stretch of time. Then we get to their contract situations between Anthony Simons and DeAndre Ayton. They're both on 2-year deals. And of course they got Scoot and they got Klingon here as well. And so what that all looks like, I mean, in the case of Simons, look, this was his first real season to show what he could be as the main guy in the offense. He broke his thumb very early in the year, missed a whole bunch of games. When he came back, like sure, he had some games where he was dropping 30 or 40. He had some games where he was just inefficient. And the thing with Simons is like the shooting is real, but the defense is bad. The playmaking is okay, and the efficiency for most of his career has been good. This year dipped a little bit, still above average. And also, when he and Scoot played together this past year, the lineups were super negative if you want to care about that. And also, Scoot, Simons, and Sharpe, and granted, Simons and Sharpe especially missed a lot of games. Scoot missed some games. Regardless, they played very little together this previous season. So when you put all that together, I mean, like you got one of two options with Simons. Either you extend him or you trade him at some point in the next year and a half. And if he and the Blazers do agree to an extension, I'm going to guess that it would be on a deal that the Blazers would think is movable. Unless he has an insane jump. It is going to be his age 25 season. Again, he had an injury to start last year. Like, maybe there's another level to get to with Simons. So we'll see what they do. I don't know. I mean, Simons is still good. It's nice to have talented players on your team. Now let's go to the center situation with Klingon and Ayton. I think in the short term, you've got 48 minutes of solid center play. DeAndre Ayton, yeah, I know, it can be annoying sometimes. The days of me hoping that Ayton could get to, let's say, 6 free throw attempts per game, I think I just got to take the L on this one. Like, he was at 1.5 free throws per game this previous season. That being said, you want to know how many guys averaged 16 and 11 this past year? 6, and he was one of them. It's already been proven that you can be a good defense with Ayton as your starting center. I mean, we saw it in Phoenix for years. And when he was getting the ball more in the later part of this previous season, he was putting up better points. So, overall, he's pretty good. Yeah, he can be frustrating sometimes, but he's a good center. You could do a lot worse at your starting 5 than Ayton. Now, with all that said, you do not want to give him a huge contract on his next extension, and also Donovan Klingon, we'll just see. I mean, if the rim protection and screen setting and rebounding impact is just real from day one and he can improve on the offense and the stamina stuff, then long-term the conversation gets very interesting at that spot. But in the meantime, hey, you know what? You got a couple of nice centers. I do like that Denny pickup for them. I mean, he's 23 years old, just a good two-way guy. Like, he's going to help in whatever lineup configuration you want to imagine. You can just plop him in there and he's going to work. Now we go to the Wizards. So we know Kuzma's going to be in trade rumors all year. They don't have to move him. Let's talk Jordan Poole. Rough season for him, especially to start it out. Once Brian Keefe took over the head coaching spot over Wes Unseld, Jordan Poole did have an uptick in his assists per game, especially at the very last leg of the season. I'm talking like last 5 or 6 games here. And it was a good amount of Keefe just kind of trusting Poole to make decisions. Like they were running screens for him with Avdia or Kispert or this guy they picked up, Vukcevic. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Jordan Poole is suddenly an amazing playmaker, but I do think it's something interesting that understandably didn't get like super talked about. And so how Keefe balances that with Carrington's development, because he wants to run pick and roll, and Brogdon, I mean, Brogdon's going to be Brogdon, assuming that he's playing like that for him. As far as, will Poole's efficiency get back to what it was that one year with the Warriors? I don't know. Brogdon and Valanciunas are cool. I mean, like, so much of this is just going to be the development of Sarr, Bub Carrington, Koulibaly, Kispert. For Sarr, yeah, the shooting in Summer League was rough. He showed off the defensive versatility. We'll just see, man, between finishing on stuff that's not just dunks, between aggressiveness, screen setting, shooting, all of it. I think for me, what I'm just realistically hoping for out of Sarr in year one is just prove that you're the defensive player that you're supposed to be. Like the big, versatile guy who can protect the rim, you can help, you can switch sometimes. Although even then, Valanciunas is going to be playing with him, so that's going to make it a little different, I guess. But yeah, we'll just, we'll start from there. Yeah, I mean, with Bub, look, like in college, he was a mid-range god, and then in the Summer League, he was very willing to take him from 3. With Koulibaly, like, you'd like to see the shooting and the handle take another step this year. Defensively, decent shot. He'll clear 1 steal and 1 block a game with his wingspan. I like Koulibaly. Jazz one I think is kind of easy because I've sort of already done this in my trade video from, I don't know, a couple weeks back now, where of course Markkanen has not been traded. They agreed to a contract. He cannot be traded for this entire upcoming season. They got the 31 wins last year, which, like, yeah, not good, but not as rough as like the Pistons or the Wizards. And so we'll see if the tough shot-making flashes with Keontae become more consistent. We'll see if the weird lineup stuff with Walker Kessler is just kind of a thing of last season, and they just say, hey, John Collins, look, sorry, but we got to prioritize this kid. And then we'll see with Cody Williams, who did have a really good summer league. Also, don't forget the Jazz only get their pick if it finishes top 10 in the lottery. The Raptors, we will see where Scotty's 3-ball, because he came out of the gates last year just on fire from 3, and then as the year went down, it just kind of dwindled a little bit. But Scotty's still very good. I mean, his passing ability at that size, where he can make passes out of the post, the way that they can, when they can get him going downhill on screens, that looks good. Then you got Quickly, where the passing numbers like were pretty damn efficient when he was on the Raptors. Weird thing with him is that the mid-range stuff and like the Quickly floater stuff, like that didn't go in as much for the Raptors, but we've seen him make that shot consistently throughout his career. They got RJ either running a little bit more because they just have a higher pace than the Knicks do, or they put him in spots where he could attack off the catch more often as opposed to trying to create for himself all the time like it was in the Knicks. And the last thing for the Raptors is it is time for Grady Dick to get these shots up. Just take threes and keep taking threes. The last one, the Bulls, who I feel like I've talked about a decent amount this offseason between the Caruso-Giddey trade, the DeRozan trade, and Buzelis in Summer League. LaVine wants to get traded. They want to trade LaVine. Don't know if other teams are going to cooperate. How much of a green light does Buzelis have in year 1? I think it's safe to say Kobe White has taken a jump. Giddey's going back to the natural position. They're going to get their pick this year. It's top 10 protected, but they'll be bad enough. They'll get their pick. It could get cool in like a couple of years here, depending on what happens in the draft for them. But for right now, it's just we're going to have to see some stuff first.